Hey y'all, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, I'm your host, and today we have two great guests, Jason Logsdon from Amazing Food Made Easy, and Mike Charite from the International Sous Vide Association. I will be right back with my guests.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, I'm your host, and today I have a couple great guests. I'm going to start out with Jason Logsdon. He is the owner and creator of the Amazing Food Made Easy website. He also runs the Exploring Sous Vide Facebook group. He is an author of a number of sous vide books that are on Amazon. Jason, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks a lot for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I think you did a pretty good job. I run Amazing Food Made Easy, and it's a website mainly dedicated to trying to take high-end restaurant techniques and show you how you can do them at home. And sous vide is a large part of my content and what I focus on, because it especially as it started getting popularized, there was with Thomas Keller, and I tried to convert it so you can do it as a home cook pretty easily. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad you're on. So your website not only does sous vide, but you also do a lot of other modernist cooking practices too, as well, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Can you go into more what those are?
Yeah, some of the big ones are like making foams or gels, or even just thickening without using flour or cornstarch. There's some good different thickening ingredients. So I've taken things like you might go to a 3-star Michelin restaurant and you'd have a light foam on your small little bite that you're having as part of your tasting menu. And on my website, I show you how you could do that at home with maybe soy sauce, and it'll take you 5 minutes to do and cost you like $3, and all your friends will be amazed at what you're serving them. But it took you very little effort to actually accomplish it. That's pretty much what I go for in my cooking. I try to impress my friends and family without having to spend any more energy than I have to.
Yeah, it's kind of the stuff you see in the movies, fancy stuff that you don't really think about that you could do at home, that you see on TV or in the movies. So that's great that you do that. What got you started in creating the website and getting into the sous vide and the modernist cooking?
So about 12 years ago, I guess now, I can't believe it's been that long. I got a copy of Thomas Keller's Under Pressure cookbook and a sous vide temperature controller to plug my crock pot into. And I read through his book and I was confused because it's pretty complicated. Reading Thomas Keller about how to bake a chicken, it's complicated because he's making, everything's very precise and some of the best dishes in the world. So I didn't really understand how to use sous vide after reading his book. I started doing some research online and I found the eGullet forum with Nathan from Now Modernist Cuisine, which didn't exist at the time, and Nathan Baldwin as well. And they had some Douglas Baldwin, sorry. They had some interesting information out there, but it was all on a giant forum and it was really not accessible to most people. And a lot of it was very scientific discussions about temperature curves and heating gradients and interesting things like that aren't applicable to most home cooks necessarily. It applies to all cooking, but you don't worry too much about the thermal gradient in your chicken breast when you're baking it. You just know you set it to 450, and when the temperature hits where you want it, you pull it out. So I thought, if I'm this confused about it, I generally feel like I'm a pretty intelligent person, and I'm pretty scientific. And if I couldn't follow a lot of this, I thought there's probably a lot of other people that couldn't as well. So I started gathering that information, putting it together in one place, and beginning to do some of my own research and cooking with it to put my own spin on a lot of what was being discussed. And it kind of grew from there. It just took off, and sous vide has exploded over the last decade. And my information was some of the first that was out there for home cooks.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that drew me to your books, the website, the Facebook group is you take some of the complicated things that you think are complicated and kind of put it back down in layman's terms so that everybody can kind of understand what's going on. And that's what I try to do as well. And the things that I do with, combining the barbecue and sous vide, there's still a lot of people that don't understand what sous vide is and how it works. And, once you learn the basics of it, it's really kind of easy, so if you can kind of explain it to people to make them, they can understand it. Once they get it, they get that aha moment. That's what I liked about, when I first found your stuff. So.
I appreciate that. That's generally my goal. So I'm glad it was effective.
And I think one of the first places I found your work was in the Gourmet book that came with the Gourmet circulator that I bought, because I bought that, the first thing, a couple of years ago. I asked my wife, I kind of stumbled onto sous vide, and then I kind of said, well, I'm going to try working it with barbecue. And the first sous vide circulator I bought was a Gourmet one on sale, through Kohl's or something. And I opened up the box, and there was your guide and recipes. So,
well, I'm glad some people saw that. It was fun to work with Gourmet. I've done a few different things with them, and generally think pretty highly of their machines. So, right now, I know you've written a bunch of books and the website. What keeps you the most busy? Are you still writing more books? Is the website and the Facebook group keep you really busy? What else are you working on right now? So I'm kind of doing a 3-prong approach, I guess. I've been working on some more books that will also be made into video courses. So lately I've come out with two new video courses, one on getting started with sous vide and one for cooking Thanksgiving dinner with sous vide. And as part of the process of coming up with the content and the recipes, it's a lot easier for me if I write it all down instead of trying to wing it or just have an outline. And in the process of writing it all down, I pretty much have enough content for a full book that I can put out in conjunction with the video course. So I've been working on those two aspects as part of the Amazing Food Made Easy products now. And then I've also been starting to do a little bit more about working with other food bloggers, teaching them how over the last decade, I've really started to grow my income by serving my fans. It's a lot of food bloggers don't necessarily make money by serving their fans. It's through ads and affiliate links. So I've been talking more and speaking at some food conferences about how I approach making money, which is by creating products and services that my fans are really interested in, and it's providing value to them, so they're happy to pay for them versus trying to put ads or other things in that are taking away some from your readers.
One of the things that I noticed on your website is you have a free email course that you provide that kind of walks people through sous vide and how to get started. A multiple email type course. Is that still very popular? Or you still get a lot of people doing that?
Yeah, we actually came out with a second free email course because the first one was so popular. We had about, I think, 10,000 people sign up in the first year. We put out the first email course. It's 20 emails long with 35 lessons in it, and really takes you from not knowing anything about sous vide to hopefully having a pretty comprehensive understanding about it. And then recently we just put out a 9 email course, which is the Quick Start course. And that's much more high level, and it's supposed to take you from, if you have a sous vide machine that you don't really feel comfortable with, it kind of gives you the down and dirty basics you need to use it, with a few super simple recipes and what, in my opinion, is the most important things you need to know in sous vide, which is some of the safety issues with the danger zone and how to determine time and temperatures. People don't know how to approach that, so I try to cover it pretty quick in the course to let people. You have a new piece of equipment that you either got as a gift or you just spent $100 or $200 on, and in my opinion, there's not a lot of good content that just says, here's how to get up and running in a week without having to dive into a lot of scientific information. So I put together the course that I thought people would be looking for and made it free to get some new people in that just got a machine, and hopefully will give my site a try and then become long-term fans of my content and the stuff that I do.
So we discussed about you wrote some books already. How many books do you have combined with the sous vide and modernist cooking do you have out there right now?
I should probably know the answer, but I think it's between 12 and 14, somewhere in there. I've lost track, which I should probably figure out the specific answer to that.
Because I know you have like at least 6 or 7 just on sous vide, different aspects of it. I know one is a grilling one. Some are, some basic recipes. Some are some more advanced recipes and things like that. So, and then I know you have some modernist cuisine books as well.
Yeah, I do some modernist ones and the whipping siphon and infusions and some things like that are similar to sous vide, but a little bit out of the strict sous vide realm. And then, like you were saying, I have 7 or 8, I think, sous vide books at this point.
Are they all available elsewhere besides Amazon, or is it primarily Amazon that they are distributed through?
Most of them are available on Amazon or on the any ebooks that you have. So, Kindle, iTunes, Nook, and then I have PDFs on my website. There's 2 that are available, I believe, in bookstores. The official Instapot sous vide guide, which was my latest one that was sponsored by Instapot. And there's a traditionally published book. And another one that was, I think it's called Simple Sous Vide, which was also a traditionally published book. And both of those are in, I believe, Barnes & Noble and brick and mortar stores.
So your Facebook group is one of the first ones I joined, and it's probably one of the most popular on Facebook that is dedicated strictly to sous vide. And I think you have some of your family members in there as admins and moderators. I think that's great that you got some of your family running it. But what challenges and have you just seen with that Facebook group? I know Facebook groups I started my own a while back, and that. And they're kind of challenging it sometimes. So how is that since you started it to now? Think it's going to continue to grow, or?
We actually got pretty lucky. I'm not sure how we had such explosive growth when our group came out, but we're up to almost 40,000 members now, we were not expecting it to take off like that. The biggest challenge is just keeping up with the content. We have probably 15 or 20 posts a day, if not more, and each one of those can have between 20 and 100 or 200 comments on it. So trying to keep up with that, it's something that is a challenge, because I think the Facebook group is a really good resource for a lot of people that are using it. It's not a good way for us to make money, which is part of running a blog and writing cookbooks, and I do sous vide full time. So that always has to be in the back of my mind. What can I do to provide value while still bringing in some money? So the Facebook group is hard I can't dedicate the 2 or 3 hours a day. I'd probably have to, at a minimum, to keep up with all the content and moderate it quite as well as we would prefer. But most of the people in there are pretty good, and we've just tried to start drawing a harder line and count on our members to let us know when people are out of line. There's a lot of different Facebook groups out there, and we try to be a welcoming one that has a lot of beginners in it. And so there's no dumb questions. You don't get in trouble for asking what time and temperature you should post stuff, or talking about what time and temperature do you need to cook a well-done steak. People tend to jump down other people's throats, and we remove people like that from the group, because we try to be supportive and share in the successes of sous vide and the joy of using it, not criticize other people. So that's been kind of our guiding principle, and it's something I think we are slowly accomplishing. We wish we could, like I said, do 2 or 3 more hours a day of moderation, but it's just not enough time in the day for running a company as well.
Well, and when I started my Facebook group about a year ago, I kind of modeled it again about yours, because I try to do the same thing. There's no stupid questions. You help out the people that need help. You try to get rid of the people that are there just to cause problems and, treat people like garbage. So, I do the same thing. And I've been in part of other groups, and I know you've heard of other groups that are the total opposite, where they run people off for silly reasons and they kind of, their moderators and admins are just as bad as some of the worst people on there.
I love your Facebook group. I was just gonna say, I love your Facebook group, and I recommend it to anyone that brings up questions about smoking and using sous vide in conjunction, because I do love the way that you manage it, and I think it's a really welcoming environment. So something good for me to recommend as a resource to other people. So I think you've done a great job with it.
Yeah, and that's why I said I kind of modeled it against your Facebook group, because that's the way I think when you're starting out, you're trying to teach people something new. You don't want to have them feel like they're going to get chastised, when they ask a question. So now I noticed you've done a couple of YouTube videos and you have a channel, and do you ever, do you see that growing at all? Are you going to try to use that more?
Yeah, so we've started doing some YouTube stuff, and most of the social media, we put stuff on Pinterest, and I personally mainly use Instagram. I have a personal and business account on Instagram, but YouTube's the one that we're going to be focusing on a little more in the future, especially with doing the video courses. I've got a lot better feel for how to do videos, and I think I'm better standing in front of the camera than I used to be. Since I've been doing a lot more public speaking at conferences, I've taken public speaking classes, and I've also gotten into doing improv in New York City. So if I can get up on a stage and do improv and make a fool of myself in front of strangers on a stage, I can definitely stand in front of a camera in my own kitchen and talk to it a lot easier than I could before. So I think YouTube, the visual aspects of it, connecting with your fans a lot better, and just being able to show them what you're talking about instead of trying to describe it in words, it makes it a really powerful medium. We're pretty new to both to YouTube, but it's something that we're definitely focusing more on in the future.
Yeah, when I first started doing it, I had the same thing. I want to be able to show people, because I'm that type of learner that I can learn better by somebody showing me visually than reading it in a book. I can learn some stuff from reading in a book or reading a recipe, but when I'm watching somebody do it, I can learn a lot better. And that's kind of why I started my YouTube channel as well. So, but wait a minute, you said something there that caught my attention. I'm coming up to New York City here at the end of this month. Are you gonna be doing some stand up somewhere that I can come watch?
Probably we won't be having an improv show at that time, but I'll definitely do dinner, and you're on my calendar for dinner. And if you want to attend an improv show, we can definitely go to one, and you can see what I do without actually watching me do it.
Oh, well, I thought I'd try, see if we could sneak into a show while we're up there. But yeah, I look forward to meeting you. And I was hoping that Justice could meet us, but we'll see. I know he just got a new job, but Justice Stewart's, I'm a big fan of his as well. And I got his book too that just came out.
His book's great, and he's a real nice guy. We've met up a few times, and I really like hanging out with him. I'll be sure to send him a message and let him know to get his priorities straight, that this whole new job thing isn't nearly as important as hanging out with me and you.
Now, we talked about this. You talked about this a little earlier on the special video courses that you're doing. So you're going to be concentrating on doing those, more of those and different ones.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good way to kind of package the content and information into a format that my fans are really interested in. There's so much more information out there and so much free information that trying to just come up with kind of random videos or random recipes now, it isn't very helpful for my fans. I think it's a lot easier to take a discrete problem that they have and take them through in a video course from start to finish, that you don't know how to, like, for an example, you could do one pretty easily on sous vide and barbecue. So your fans wouldn't know how to sous vide and barbecue at the beginning, and then 20 lessons later, they would fully understand how to use sous vide and barbecue. And that's something that you can't Google it. You can't find free videos on YouTube. You can find one-off videos, but not that kind of step-by-step, here's what you need to know if you really want to help master a new form of cooking.
And that's great. And that's, like I said, that's the kind of that's the kind of learning I like, is watching somebody doing it, while they're telling me to do it. And that's why I've always loved the food channels, watching the Food
That's how
Network
I
and all
learned
that,
was
and watching
I learned by
Emerald.
watching all the Bobby Flay and Tyler Florence on the Food Network about 15 years ago.
Well, again, your website is amazingfoodmadeeasy.com, and it's got a lot of information on it. I use your time and temp guide a lot. And when people in my Facebook group ask for times and temps, you get those all the time. Hey, what's the time and temp on this? I always link to your online time and temp guide and say, here, stop asking questions. Just go to this. And if you ever got a question, you don't have to sit there and wait for somebody to look it up for you and answer you. You can just click real quick and go to, Jason's website. It's right there.
That.
So, and the Facebook group is Exploring Sous Vide. So, like I said, that's one of the biggest ones out there. It's one of the most welcoming ones. So if you're a newbie new to sous vide, make sure you check out Exploring Sous Vide Facebook group at Amazing Food Made Easy. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we take a break?
I think I'm pretty good. I really appreciate you having me on, and looking forward to the second half.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break now, and then when we come back, we're going to have Mike Lasciardi join us of the International Sous Vide Association that you're a part of as well, and we're going to discuss the ISVA and the International Sous Vide Summit that's coming up. We'll be right back, guys. Hey all, it's Darren. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the podcast, Inkbird Products. Inkbird's been around since 2010. They make some good humidity controllers, temp controllers, thermometers. They just released a new line of barbecue thermometers. I actually have the IBT 4XS model, which is a Bluetooth 4-probe barbecue thermometer. It has up to 150-foot range on the Bluetooth. Has built-in times and temps for different meats. Works really great. Check them out, Inkbird Products. You can find them on my Amazon store on the link on my website. Also, you can check them out on Facebook, Inkbird Barbecue. You can join their group. They have discount codes, giveaways all the time. But welcome Inkbird Barbecue Products to the Fire and Water Podcast. Check them out, guys. Thanks. All right, guys, we're back, and we have Mike Lasciardi and Jason Logsdon. And Mike Lasciardi is the president of the International Sous Vide Association. And Jason, what is your title with it again,
I think
Jason?
Mike's the CEO, and I'm the president. He's the brains behind the
There you
operation.
go. So Mike is the CEO of the International Sous Vide Association, and Jason is the president. These two guys have created this association to bring under one umbrella, some of the top names in sous vide and cooking in general, to put together a summit that's going to be in July. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Darren. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Go ahead and tell me how you guys started this and what we can expect with the International Sous Vide Association itself.
Yeah, so, it was kind of funny, and this will come full circle when we talk about the summit, but this idea came from a trip to Delaware a couple years ago, and I was doing a site tour. I do hotel sourcing, so I was doing a site tour, and there was some association that was like tiny figurine collectors that had a conference over the weekend in this little convention center in Wilmington, Delaware. And I remember thinking, man, there's an association for everything, and they just sold out a convention center for the weekend. So last year, I'd been into sous vide for a few years, and I'd been a part of Jason's group exploring sous vide since I got started. I've seen lots of little buzz like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could get together and cook? Or, get together and learn together, and hey, why isn't there a sous vide conference? And so I started looking around and, didn't see anything. There was no real professional association for sous vide cooks on the professional side or for enthusiasts. And so I knew Jason as my favorite sous vide cookbook author at that time. And I randomly reached out to him, and he got back to me very quickly, and we started talking and realized that there really was a need for the sous vide community to unite. And really our goals with the association are, first of all, to throw killer events that people can come together and obviously learn about sous vide and, just network and build friendships that they may have had online, but now they can make in person. And of course, enjoy amazing food all weekend. But the other side of it, like you kind of alluded to in the introduction, was to really unite the sous vide community and, bring together everything that all of the brands are doing that is so great, and all of the awesome information out there, and really become a place that puts that all together in one nice, easy package for people to come and digest. So those are sort of our two main goals, I think, with the association. That's why we started it in the first place.
Yeah, and that me and Jason were talking earlier, and teaching people and helping them, once they understand the basic, functions and how sous vide works, it's not really that hard, not as difficult as it seems going in. So I think once people, get more used to it and get more comfortable, and there's more information out there, and I think things like this are going to bring it more to the forefront. Still I run into people all the time and they're like, sous vide, what is that? And then you kind of start to explain it to them, their eyes get crossed, but once they point them to my website or the Facebook group or to a YouTube channel that shows it, they kind of go, oh, now I kind of understand it. So I think this is a good start to help that out. So,
and I mean, I think, like you said, once you start doing it and you understand the methodology and the basic science behind it, it's not rocket science. It really is a method that anybody can do. And you'll notice, we're about to publish the full agenda for the summit on our website, and you'll notice a lot of the sessions are kind of playful and have some really unique spins on sous vide. For example, there are these two guys that live in Atlanta, actually where you're at, right? I think.
I'm in Tampa.
Oh, in Tampa. Well, not too far. They're pie bakers, and they just published a new cookbook, and they use sous vide for all their fruit pies. And it's something you would never really think about. But I've made a few out of their book so far, and they've been phenomenal. So it's a lot of just interesting sessions like that challenge you beyond, just the basic science of, cooking a steak.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I tell people is it's not just for steak, because people get that in their mind that, oh yeah, I've used that for steak. I've done sausage, where I've made my own homemade sausage, and I use sous vide to, pasteurize the sausage before freezing it and all that, and, doing the roasts, making a roast medium rare, cooking it for 48 hours. And then, instead of having to cook it well done so it can get tender, and, cooking it till it's, dead. But so that's kind of why I got involved in it. Is I want to show people it's not just for steaks or chicken breasts or pork chops, and you can use it for so many different things that people don't think of. And I think that's another good thing that the International Sous Vide Association can help with.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about that.
Chocolate pot de crèmes are one of my favorite things to make in sous vide. They are incredibly rich and delicious, and But I also think one of the sessions that, speaking of just steaks and things on the grill, that relates a lot to your, fire and water, is we will have Meathead Goldwyn there talking about sous vide and barbecue. So we're looking forward to that one and seeing one of the biggest names in barbecue come to the conference and share his information with us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. And Clint's going to be cooking. So I'm going to have both of those guys on here in a couple of weeks. So,
awesome.
Yeah, they're going to be on the podcast because I wanted to get, especially Clint, because Clint does a lot of the cooking for Meathead. Meathead's kind of the figurehead, the figure Meathead, and he does some of the articles, but Clint does a lot of the, behind the scenes cooking and putting the recipes and stuff together for the website. So I'm glad that he's going to be on there as well. So, and I know he's going to probably be the one doing the cooking at the conference.
Yeah. I've got to say too, and Jason would probably agree with me on this. I think one of the most fun parts of this so far for me, of creating the association and looking the event, putting the event together, is just getting to network and meet all these people. I mean, Meathead, when we first reached out to him and the emails back and forth, he sounds like the most fun guy on the planet. Like, I'm so excited to meet him in person. And I feel like that about so many of our committee members. And it's just been that, cooking brings people together, and creating great food is really just a unifying factor. And in a time where we're so at each other's throats all the time, it's really refreshing to come together with all these people from different walks of life and different professions and different, cooking methods. And, we all kind of fuse together, and it's just been great building the relationships. I think that's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I've been really impressed how nice everyone's been and just really accommodating. We have some pretty big names coming that, Scott Heimendinger, the Seattle food geek, who was one of the few people that was blogging about sous vide before I was, is going to be there doing a keynote. And people like that you could see being a little stuck up or snobby or something, or just so down to earth and so just accommodating. It's been really refreshing.
Absolutely.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Jason, about how we, approach our Facebook groups and we're open and teaching. Well, food and cooking is supposed to be fun and make you feel good. And one thing that, I won't put up with in my Facebook group or anything that I do is have somebody come in, you have to cook it this way, or you got to do it my way, and just negative. And, food's supposed to be fun. People are going to have different, preferences on the way they like to eat their food. You can't tell somebody they're doing it wrong because they're not doing it the way you like to cook your food. It's just ridiculous. So food is supposed to be fun, and cooking is supposed to be fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can have the best food in the world and it can taste horrible if the people you're dining with are people that you don't like. And you can eat the simplest, food in the world, and if it's with the right company, you're going to have the best meal of your life. So it's all about the people that you're with, I think, and coming together.
Yeah. Just to sort of highlight that, we had the opportunity in September to go down to Cuisine Solutions headquarters in Washington, D.C., which is on Sous Vide Lane, which is so badass awesome that they have their business at Sous Vide Lane. But beyond like everything that they showed us, and they're the title sponsors, Cuisine Solutions and CREA, for the conference, beyond like all the cutting edge stuff that they're doing. And I mean, they served us crazy food that was amazing. Just the opportunity to sit down with them and the relationships, and, I think we were there for probably like 3 hours just hanging out with Gerard and AJ and Jennifer, and just getting to learn from some of these greatest minds in sous vide, but just, hanging out with them, and the relationships are so powerful. And so we're really excited to have them at the conference, and all of that good stuff.
So can you list off just who all is going to be there as far as speakers and presenters and all that?
Yeah. So I won't give you the whole list because there's a lot and I don't want to take up too much, but if you go to our website, they're all on there. Keynotes are James Brachon, who has won Chopped on Food Network twice. He's also opening a brand new restaurant in Pensacola called Angelina's, which opens next month, actually. I'm very excited to go down there hopefully later this year and check it out. As Jason mentioned, Scott Heimendinger, Modernist Cuisine and Seattle Food Geek. We have Meathead Goldwyn. We have Chef Eric Eisenbud talking about dry aging. Gerard Berthelon and AJ Schaller from Cuisine Solutions and CREA. And this is actually the first place that we're announcing this publicly. But Dr. Bruno Gussault, who is the chief scientist for Cuisine Solutions, and he's the guy who really pioneered the method and developed it. He's actually going to be coming to speak as well, and hang out for the weekend at the summit. So we're super excited to meet him, and just
he's kind of like the OG.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been around forever.
Yeah.
We also have David from PolyScience,
yep,
and Cole Wagoner from Anova.
Yep, and so I mean, I think that's a good number to list off here, but there's a whole list. There's probably about 16 or 17 that are coming that you can check out on the website.
And also, you guys are going to be providing meals? Is it just lunch and dinner? What are you guys providing at the conference?
Yeah, so Cuisine Solutions is providing lunch on Saturday, which is going to be fantastic. They are also doing Saturday night a full tasting reception that we're doing at a really cool venue offsite. So we'll be able to get out of the hotel and the ballroom for the evening. And we are going to have another, like a kickoff reception on Friday night. I can't really officially announce what we're going to have there yet, but the hope is that some of our chefs who are a part of the conference are going to be cooking up some pretty amazing grub for everybody to taste. So, yeah.
Lots of meat.
Yes, lots of meat that
I think that night.
Okay, so the website is theisva.org, correct?
Correct, yes.
That is the main website, and then I guess it's Summit 20. It has the information for the summit, which is in July. We haven't I don't think I mentioned the date yet, but I think it's July 21st, correct? Through the 23rd?
The 19th through the 21st. It's a Friday through a Sunday.
19th to the 21st in July of this year. So,
yep.
And this is the first time you guys done it, and it looks like it's going to be pretty big for something that's being done for the first time. A lot of people being involved in it. So I'm excited. Yeah. I'm sorry. I really wish I could have made it this year because I just, unfortunately, I have a bunch of other stuff that I got planned and scheduled already. But I really would love to attend it because it looks like it's going to be a blast.
It should be an amazing time. We're miss having you not there.
But it's it's been pretty, as Jason said earlier, it's been amazing to just hear from these all of these speakers who have jumped in this first year, and Dave from PolyScience has been instrumental in making a lot of the networking connections that have helped us out there, and certainly Jason as well has done a lot in securing the majority of our speakers. But it's been so cool to just, as we've been talking to people, both on the committee side and on the hey, come speak at our event side, to hear how many people are excited about what's coming with ISVA and just that this exists. It's really neat to kind of see how the community is coming together. So we're very grateful to everybody who's played a part in making this a reality this first year.
And we still do have a few tickets left available. And, for having us on the podcast, Mike and I want to give a discount to your listeners if you're interested. And Mike can provide a link that you can put in your show notes. We'll give anyone that's listening to your podcast a good discount on their ticket while supplies last. We're getting close, but we like to help out the people that have us on to talk.
Amen.
Definitely. I'll put the discount code in the description of the podcast. So and when it runs out, it runs out. But it's great that you guys are having. It looks like it's going to be a really great, event, especially for something that's, for the first year of it. I mean, it's amazing how many guests and speakers you got going on, and it looks like it's just going to be a great time. Anything else you guys want to talk about? What are your plans for the future for the ISVA besides doing the summits?
So we have the summits. That's going to be an annual event for now, and hopefully in the next 2 years those will go global, and we'll start being able to go to Europe. And one of our committee members is Dale Prentice with Sous Vide Australia, so we'd love to go do this in Melbourne, one of these years. But we've also been working, and I have to give a shout out here to Stefan Boer with Stefan Gourmet. And Dale Prentice as well. They've both been a huge part in helping to compile a lot of the science. We've put, and it's published on our website, we have like a document that talks about really what our focus is as an association and the information that we publish, how we are vetting everything that's getting published, and how we're really separating the good information from the stuff that's not science-based. And Dale and Stefan have had a huge part in that. And so we're hoping right before the conference to have the sort of first go at the main science information ready to publish. And we're constantly going to just be fine tuning that and really going through everything that's out there, online, and putting that, in a place where there's a resource for people to come and check it and know that it's vetted. We also there's an approved devices. We're testing any sous vide devices really that we can get our hands on and making sure that they meet minimum qualifications that are on the website. So, we're not reviewing them, but people will know that, hey, if they buy this device, at least it's been tested to, meet minimum qualifications that are needed to be successful. So those are some of the things that we're working on. We'll continue to build out and figure out over the next 2 or 3 years, where this is going to end up.
Well, that's great. Yeah, that's one thing I found out early on is there seems like to be 10 more every day on Amazon. New sous vide circulators coming out. And some of the first couple that I got, people contact, because I have a YouTube channel, people contact me, let me send you a free one and you try out, and I get it.
Yep. And
it's 10 degrees off temperature, and the water's not circulating, it's like things like that. It's just junk. And you're just like, don't even bother trying to sell this thing. Really, the circulator propeller is, it's too small to even circulate a cup of water, and they're trying to sell these things for $70-$80 on Amazon. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. And some of those, like there was one that was really popular for a while, and I won't name the brand, but it was huge. Everybody was buying them, and I got one. I actually gifted one to a friend, and then I was like, oh, let's try it out. I have 3 or 4 already. Why not? And the first one, it came and it failed. Like it would not stop at the temperature. It just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. So I reached out to them. They sent me a new one, trashed that one. And I got the new one, and instantly, the first cook, it was 10 degrees off. I reached out again. The company was shuttered. Like they closed their doors. So, with a lot of these little, independents, and not saying that there aren't good ones, but got to be really careful. And make sure that the consistency of the product is there, and also the customer support after. That's one of the hardest things, and I think where I would like to see us as we grow talk about with some of these circulators is what is all included. How does the company back their product and all of that?
Yeah, that's a good thing, because I know I've had some of the more top name brand ones where I've got, and they had issues as well. So, they're electronic devices. Mm-hmm. So they're all, you're going to get a bad one every once in a while, but how they treat their customers and how they actually follow up and support you is going to be the biggest thing. But, when you get a cheap one, it's, 10 degrees off, and they, barely speak any, their English is so broken that, that they're not going to be behind you, 6 months down the road if the thing, breaks. Sometimes it's not worth it.
There's no phone number.
Right.
Don't reach out to us. There's no way to get a hold of us.
Yeah, there's several companies out there that are pretty big name brands, and you might have to pay a slight premium to get a Nova or a Gormia or Polyscience or a Jewel, but they have companies behind them, and they have people that work there, and they have brands, and they're not just someone that bought 1,000 units off of Alibaba and is now drop shipping them under their own name that doesn't really care. I feel like that's the big difference between a lot of the name brands, or that it's people that stand behind their products and have good customer service, which is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate when you see the big name chefs stick their names on stuff like that. Emerald's even got some of his name on it, and it's just they're cheap junk that you can, like you said, you can find on Alibaba. You pay them an extra $10, they'll stick your name on it. If you order, a pallet full of them, it's just ridiculous. So I just, and they all do it. Hey, they're trying to make a living. I understand that, but sometimes you got to. Quality's got to be there to put your name on it. Some of these guys don't care.
That's for sure.
What I talk about now is trying to exceed your fans' expectations. Promise them something and then exceed what you promised them. Don't don't just try to make a quick buck, because it's a long-term game to build up fans, and to keep providing content and value to them will help you go a longer way, I think, than just trying to make a quick buck here and there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, they won't follow you anymore. Yeah, I bought that, piece of thing that, Emerald stuck his name on it. I'm not going to even follow him anymore because it was garbage. It's just, that's what happens. Speaking of that, I don't know, did you guys have been kind of following what's going on with Chef Steps and Jewel? Has Chris Young had any kind of interest in being a part of the SVA or?
So he was one of the original committee members. He hasn't been involved over the last probably 6 to 9 months. We worked mainly with his assistant that's not with the company anymore. So we don't have any real insight on what's going over there. But at least from my understanding of what's happening there is that they kind of shuttered their content and they had a new sauces division. But sounds like they're still supporting the Jewel and still manufacturing that. But
yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very, they have a really strong following on the Jewel, and it's a high quality product. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So I'm hoping that they can actually turn it around and hopefully focus a lot more back on the Jewel and supporting that product. And their content stuff though is pretty good, and I think that's what sold them a lot of Jewels in the first place is their YouTube channel and some of the content they were putting out there. But they definitely have a pretty strong product there. The only thing I saw with it is just if it had a manual control, it would be great. But
of course,
I agree because as much as I live on my computer, I'm always having technical glitches, and I'm like, I need a wheel I can spin.
Well, and it's like people that don't have a phone or are comfortable using apps, if they just want to touch a couple buttons, I think, but, me personally, I have a couple that have Wi-Fi. I use it occasionally, but most of the time I'm punching buttons, but it does feel good if you have to run to the store and you want to check on something and make sure that it's, how close it was in time or something like that. Yeah, it does make it convenient. Have you guys heard of the Nice Wave? Have you seen that one? Because that was a Kickstarter that started a couple of years ago. But
I remember seeing it, but I've never got my hands on one, and I don't know if anything ever came of it at this point or not. Honestly,
yeah, I had a couple conversations with them early on when we were working on the conference, and that sort of just we never committed or continued. So I'm not sure what's going on with it. It does seem like a pretty cool product if they ever get it out to the consumers.
I actually talked to one of the guys that put it together, and they've started delivering units to their Kickstarter backers. They had a lot of manufacturing issues, and but from what I see, it's supposed to be about the size of the Jewel, but it's going to have both manual controls and the Wi-Fi. It's probably going to be a bigger competitor between the Innova and the Jewel. It's going to, if they can get it launched and keep it going. I mean, these Kickstarter programs sometimes, if the backer pulls out or something, it doesn't get successful. Yeah. That's the only thing with that kind of stuff. But the product itself looks amazing if they can get it to people's hands. So I'm hoping that they do. But
it's not that weird to me either. I'm fairly active on Kickstarter, and I've bought lots of things, and production delays happen, especially when you're having things manufactured overseas and they're trying to make sure the every aspect of the product is perfect. So I'm still hopeful that it'll hit the market pretty soon.
Yeah, and I recently talked to Dorian, who's one of the top guys there, and he promises me that it's going to be hitting the market soon. So that they're through all they're just getting the production ramped up now. So hopefully it will be. So what else you guys want to talk about? We got the ISVA covered. I think that's going to be a great event.
Yeah, we're super excited, and it's easy to get in. It's right outside of Philadelphia, so lots of easy flights into Philly, and it's real easy to get to. And we can't wait. I mean, Jason and I have been working on this for over a year now, and we are, with I can't thank our committee enough. I just want to quick little shout out to Winter and Lee Red from Hungry Squared. They have been super involved in the event logistics process, and our committee has just been amazing. All of the people that have been helping out. So we can't wait to see it come to fruition and, get everybody's feedback and continue to just build this thing and have an awesome conference going.
One suggestion I have, and both of you can do
Yes.
this, do a live stream on the Facebook group. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Just, when somebody's speaking or somebody's got time, just, make sure you go live on the Facebook group. Because I think that will generate excitement. And some of us that can't be there can actually, participate a little bit and watch what's going on. I think it'd be great.
Definitely.
We'll definitely be sharing content from the conference, trying to make everyone that's not there know exactly how much they're missing out on.
Yep.
Yeah. So next year we can all make sure we go. Speaking of that, have you guys started planning next year's yet? Have you kind of know where or when and all that?
We have a destination. It's going to be announced officially at the conference, and
Great.
we will try to live stream that. So it is going to be August of 2020, the 21st through the 23rd. So if everybody marks that on their calendars, and it's going to be a really cool location. We're working on committing our keynotes right now, and hopefully we'll have those to announce at the conference as well. But it's going to be the venue we're at is pretty special, and there's a lot of cool things that market brings to the table. So we're super excited.
All right, I'll put it on my calendar now so that I have it for next year. I won't have any excuses
next time, Darren.
No excuses for next time.
Exactly, and start working on your content for your speech.
All right.
Your workshop.
Maybe I'll just cook something.
Good. The more food, the better.
Well, Jason Logsdon, I want to thank you for coming on and talking about your website and Facebook group and all that. And Mike Lashardy, I think I got your name wrong at first, but Lashardy it is.
Lashardy. I really answered anything, but
I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to thank you for discussing the ISVA and the summit and all that. And I really can't wait to join you guys next year in August. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And all my listeners out there, make sure you go to Exploring Sous Vide on Facebook, join the group. Make sure you check out Jason's website, Amazing Food Made Easy. It's got lots of information on there. And make sure you join, check out the ISVA, theisva.org. It's the International Sous Vide Association. It has all the information about the summit and what the ISVA is going to be doing down the road. Thanks, Mike and Jason. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys later.
Thanks so much.
All right, all. Thanks for joining today on the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I want to thank Jason and Mike for coming on and discussing the Exploring Sous Vide Facebook group and Amazing Food Made Easy and the ISVA. If you're interested in going to the International Sous Vide Association Summit, you can use the code FIREWATER as one word for 35% off the cost of the tickets. Make sure you check them out on theisva.org for more information. Thanks for joining. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, Fire and Water Cooking, as well. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.